I'd like to say a few words about contracts. Contracts have developed a really bad name for themselves. People don't like to read them, and it's not unusual for organisations to buy quite expensive systems and services without even looking at the agreement that underpins all that. Now, personally, I love a good contract. There are a few things I like better than settling down with a good contract and reading through a nice collection of clauses and sub-clauses, but I know that not everybody feels that way. I think it's for two reasons. One is that the typeface is often quite small and difficult to read, even with glasses. But the other is that contracts tend to be written by lawyers for lawyers, and so the language itself can be a stumbling block. Now, modern technology can zoom you out of the first typeface problem. The second obstacle is the one I'd like to focus on. It's true that the primary technical purpose of a contract is to define the legal obligations and entitlements of the parties. And so legal language is quite appropriate in that sense. However, when it comes to contracts for information systems, products or services, I think a more important purpose, and the reason that I like that bit of our project work with organisations, is I think to define the project roles and responsibilities, the expectations on both sides, and so in a way to flesh out the skeleton of the project plan. So when I read through a contract, I don't picture a courtroom with lawyers arguing over the precise commitments implied by this or that legal term. I see, in my mind's eye, a meeting room with a couple of project managers and perhaps a director or a manager or two arguing over why things have gone so wrong and who's responsible. For me, a contract is a project document. Actually, more often like a novel telling the story of how the project's going to go, well or badly, whether there'll be a happy collaboration and a successful conclusion, or feelings of disappointment and betrayal and anger and upset. All of that's there to find in a contract. Depending on the length and the quality, I find it usually takes just a couple of hours to read through a good one and make some notes. It's sometimes amazing what you can find. Some suppliers have really balanced agreements that include reasonable commitments to deliver what the customer has asked for in a timely manner, and with appropriate warranties or recourse to the customer in the event that service levels or delivery aren't achieved. Others are a different story and need considerable editing and sometimes a complete rewrite. So I imagine that few of us would take a new job without first reading at least the job description. And one way to think about a job description is as a slightly boring list of tasks in rather stilted language that probably doesn't mean much. Another way, though, is to look at it as the best description you'll get of what the future might look like, what's expected of you, and what you can expect in return. Same for contracts. Happy reading.